Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good.
How's the show been for you so far?
It's great. Always lots of friendly faces, first and foremost, which is always awesome. And then some of the sessions have been awesome. Chobani, especially yesterday was just really, so many people took a lot out of that, which is awesome. But it's been great.
So tell us a little bit about your year. What have kind of been the highlights of the year so far? What are the biggest things that happened in Waiakea world so far?
For sure. So I think for us, we added another 10,000 stores around the country. So that was huge for us. We're onboarding. We have 2 more states, and basically we'll be national in scope, which is really exciting for us. But I think, the biggest push that we had this year is we had a lot of sustainability push in terms of new packaging innovation. We launched a 15-liter bag-in-box for home and office delivery. Huge reduction of plastic, super convenient as well. And it can be delivered directly to your door. We're going to actually expand that into retail over the course of the next 6 months. So super excited about that. And then, we're in the final stages of our nano additive that we've been working on for 5 years with the FDA that actually is going to be able to allow us to convert plastic into wax, which will just be, basically the first plastic negative product. That is essentially we're going to be getting rid of plastic that's in the ocean. So we're super excited for that rollout. That's going to be happening in Q1. So really that's a lot of my focus is that. And then, we finished building out our doing our facility upgrades, which were awesome. So we're running really smooth. And then just some key marketing initiatives in terms of the online business. But always stuff going on.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a full plate.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to back up a little bit, let's talk a little bit about kind of like the more broader sustainability initiatives you guys have worked on and kind of like the mission of the brand. Yeah,
for sure. So our purpose is to create a transformation within bottled water, beverage, and greater CPG even, away from singular profit towards like a triple bottom line. Basically focusing on people and planet. And so one of the most important things about our brand, and the way that we do that is we have brand promises. We have really strict guidelines for any product that we launch. So we promise that any product that we launch is going to be sustainably sourced. We promise any product that we sell is going to be naturally healthy. We promise that any product that we sell is going to be using a carbon neutral supply chain, and it's going to have sustainable packaging. And so with those brand promises, I think for us, we basically, our innovation is completely geared towards those objectives. Versus a lot of other brands, they might focus on functionality, they might focus on flavors, and that's totally fine. But that's not why we started the company.
Right.
And so, I think when you talk about a lot of the packaging innovation, we just did a partnership with Convoy Logistics, which is going to enable us to have electric fleets for next year. But I think we kind of look at things a little bit differently, where all of our priorities every single quarter are literally derived from those sustainable goals. So, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about sustainable packaging. How hard is it to establish? Is your product 100% rPET?
Yeah, so it's 100% rPET. So we were the first ones to launch 100% rPET in any beverage about when we started the company about 8 years ago. So we've been really, we were very, very thrilled when Coke and Pepsi and Nestle and all these guys made declarations that they were going to move to 100% rPET by 2025. We wish they started a little sooner. But it's obviously going to make things really competitive at the same time. So, we're lucky that we have, really long-term supply agreements, and, we're also going to be moving towards, we have some exciting other developments on the horizon that also still have to do with rPET, but combining rPET, again, with kind of that nano additive that I mentioned, for really a pretty groundbreaking packaging innovation that I think is going to really change the whole industry.
And how challenging is it on the supply side for acquiring rPET, because you need people to recycle in order to get that? So
For sure. And so what we've done is we've actually set up collection centers basically everywhere we operate. And we also have set up, multi-year agreements because the rPET supply, because all those big players that I mentioned did make commitments for 2025. A lot of them, surprisingly, have actually not made significant strides towards shoring up that supply, which is an opportunity for us to make sure that we basically were one step ahead of them in terms of, we've actually started to literally start to fund our own collection facilities. And I think that's been a huge game changer just because we have a lot more autonomy and we have a lot more control of our supply chain, and ultimately it means that we have less plastic going into the ocean because a lot of those collection facilities are basically in the Pacific. So yeah.
And you talked about how you launched the bag-in-box this year. Do you think that's a form that we'll be seeing more water companies launch? I think Fiji did a similar thing this year. Do you think this is a new kind of a different approach to sustainability?
For sure. So Fiji announced their bag-in-box about 9 months after we did. I think that ultimately, for bottled water in particular, bottled water gets demonized, and it's the only way that you'll survive is with sustainable packaging. That's it. That's really, I think, and that's becoming abundantly clear to a lot of these large brands now. So yeah, I think we're going to see more and more stuff like that. Obviously, you have this shift towards aluminum as well. But, our goal as a company is, if you look at the carbon footprint and the water footprint of all these different types of packaging across the board, and you look at, plastic bottle recycling, we like to look at the data objectively. And the reality is rPET has the smallest carbon footprint in all the metro states, except for one. You have actually rPET recycling is actually higher than glass, which a lot of people don't realize. And glass, unfortunately, has a very, very high carbon footprint, and aluminum has an even higher carbon footprint, except for the recyclabilities there with aluminum.
Sure.
So I think what you'll see for us is we'll have a huge focus on reusable aluminum bottles, and then we'll also have a focus on, one of our goals is to launch the first 100% cullet, which is basically the post-recycled glass after it's processed. No one uses post-recycled glass, and so that's we want to take it a step further, be the first 100% recycled glass user. So that's kind of what we have on the horizon. Yeah.
We have probably about a minute left, but I just want to ask, kind of zooming out, besides maybe sustainability, what are other challenges or opportunities in the premium water space that you guys are seeing right now? Yeah,
I think obviously CBD is on a lot of people's minds.
Sure. We just saw that in a panel just before this, so yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I think that's there. I think there's so many people, though, that are also trying to get into that space that I think, a lot of the legacy brands, a lot of the larger brands are kind of taking a step back and kind of seeing how things are going to play out. And obviously you still have, there's a lot of the functionality and a lot of the sparkling that continues to do well. My only argument is that there are just so many players now, and it's very hyper competitive. So I think, the emerging trend is just, with all of these players, small and large, it's just really, who are the brands that are going to stick with kind of their core competencies.
Sure.
And I think those are the brands that are ultimately going to be successful.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
And enjoy the rest of the show.
For sure. Take care.
Hey, did you like what you just saw? Well, for more from BevNet or Nosh, hit subscribe or ding that bell.